Last few sessions have not been great, but we start things off with pocket tens. I raise to 20 and get 2 customers. Flop comes out king, king, 9 with 2 diamonds. The low jack goes all in. I don't think he's doing this with a king. I think he probably has a 9 or a diamond draw. I make the call, other player folds, and we get the 7 of clubs and 2 of diamonds run out. My opponent shows 10, 7 of diamonds. Little unfortunate there, chipping down to start the day. We go card dead for a while and then pick up queen 9 suited. In early position, this is probably a fold most of the time, but because I've been so card dead, I think I need to play some of these hands that are kind of on the fence. I raise to 15 and get called by the low jack and the big blind. We're 3 ways to a flop of jack 9-4 with 2 hearts. This probably should be a check, but I'm going to see if I can take this down or at least protect my equity. I bet 25. The low jack folds, but big blind makes the call. Turn is the 10 of hearts, so the front door flush draw comes in. I now have open-ended to go along with my third pair. I'm going to go ahead and bet, and if he happens to call, I'll probably just shut it down on the river. I make it 40, and he puts in the call again. River looks like a good one. It's the king of clubs, so we improve to the straight. The big blind checks. While there's a flush out there, I think I need to bet this for value. Because the board is so wet, and I haven't been playing too many hands, I don't think I can get away with betting something like 3/4 or full pot size bet. So I make it something reasonable that either top pair or maybe a 2-pair hand can call. I make it 65, and the big blind pretty quickly calls. When that happens, I'm pretty confident we have the best hand, and sure enough, we do. Big blind shakes his head in frustration, and we take down a medium-sized pot. We could not get anything going at 1-3, so we take a small loss and move over to 3-5 when our name gets called. First notable hand, I've got ace-queen offsuit on the button. Under the gun opens things up to 25, and I 3-bet to 75. Makes its way back to under the gun, and he bumps it up again, making it $250. He doesn't seem like a wild player, so I'm going to be dominated quite a bit. Even though I'm in position, my cards hit the muck. Let's try and do better with ace-10. I raise to 30, and the cutoff makes the call. He's been loose and splashy, so I'm not thrilled that he's sitting right behind me. Let's hope we can hit something on this flop and see if we can get multiple streets of value. Flop comes out jack, deuce, deuce with 2 spades. On a paired board like this, I'm going to have the better hand most of the time, but because I'm out of position, I don't want to get myself into trouble. I check, and the cutoff puts in a nearly pot-sized bet, making it $60. I pretty quickly call, trusting my read, and the turn is the 8 of diamonds. I check, and if he bets again, I'll probably either fold or do a check raise. I don't see merit in calling again, and he slows down and checks it back. I'm feeling like I probably have the best hand. I don't think my opponent is checking back a jack here. River comes in the 5 of hearts. I don't know that I want to take my ace high to showdown, so I put out a bet of 125, and the cutoff goes into the tank. After about 30 seconds, he folds. I'm not sure if we were bluffing with the best hand or not, but we will take it. $10 button straddle is on. I'm in the big blind and look down at pocket 7s, and I want to see a flop, so I limp, planning to call any raise. The splashy player under the gun bumps it up to 30. The button calls, and we call and go to a flop of king 8-3 with 2 clubs. When under the gun continues for 50, my play will hinge on what the button does. If he calls, I'll fold, and if he folds, I'll call. The button discards his hand, so I stick in the call thinking I'm probably in pretty good shape against a wild player sitting behind me, sitting here with third pair. That assessment improves to an almost certainty as the turn brings in the 7 of spades. I check, and my opponent checks it back. River is the ace of spades, which I love because I think it's going to hit my opponent's pre-flop raising range pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and check it back once again, as I think that's my best chance to get value. Under the gun takes the bait, puts out $100, and I come in with a check raise, making it $275. He folds, so he must have had another one of those nothing hands. That's okay, happy to take down another pot. Finally, a premium hand, pocket kings. I raise to 30 and get a couple callers, including my aggressive opponent sitting to my left. He's in the small blind this time, and he checks as the board comes out, queen 8-4 with 2 diamonds. I really like this board as there's not too many 2-pair hands. It checks around to me, and I'm going to bet for value, looking to get called by those draws and single pair hands. I make it something reasonable, $30, and get check raised by my aggressive friend sitting in the small blind. Other player gets out of the way. I'm not going anywhere with my overpair against a splashy, aggressive opponent. Turn is the 7 of spades, introducing another flush draw, and there are now some 2-pair hands in there. If he'd been check raise bluffing with 5-6, he's gotten there, but for the most part, I like this card. The small blind fires again, making it 125. I think there's only one play here, and that's to make the call. River is the jack of hearts, so thankfully the flush draw is missed, but if he happened to be raising me with a queen, this is one of those cards that's likely to bring in 2-pair. He bets 150, and I don't give myself a chance to overthink. I just go ahead and stick in the call. He turns over king, queen, just top pair, and our overpair is good. We take down nearly an $800 pot with pocket kings. I raise king, queen offsuit to 20 bucks and get 3-bet by the button, who's been on the tighter side today. After the big blind calls as well, I think we're priced in, even though I don't love it. We make the call and hit top pair on a queen 5-3 flop. Checks to the pre-flop 3-better, and he continues for 115. I'm going to have the best hand here sometimes, and sometimes I'm just going to be dominated. I put in the call, curious to see what happens on the turn, which rolls off the 6 of hearts. I check and get the information that I wanted as my opponent checks it back. Now I'm pretty confident I have the best hand, and I'm pretty happy with the river, as is the 3 of hearts. I check, ready to call pretty much anything as I'm convinced I have the best hand. He thinks better of it though. He checks back with ace-king, and our top pair is good enough to scoop this pot. We rack up. Alright, before we get to the recap, there's one strange hand that I played recently that I'd love your take on. It's a 1-3 hand, and first I want to give you some background on our opponent. He is not short on ego. He's wearing a WSOP shirt, he's showing off videos to others, he's giving unsolicited advice on how people should play their hands, calling the dealer honey, he's got his speakerphone on during the middle of hands, just really acting like he's the best thing since sliced bread. Also of note is that I've been pretty darn card dead, so I haven't played a lot of hands, and the only hand that's been exposed was ace-king. So I've got a pretty tight image. He makes it 11 from the cutoff, and I don't want to invite the small blind or the big blind, so I bump it up to 35. Folds back around to the initial raiser, who makes the call, and we get a pretty solid flop. 9-5 deuce, 2 hearts, and a backdoor clubs draw. Considering my range, my position, and what he's probably putting me on, I'm going to go ahead and check for deception. Turn is safe as it comes in the 4 of diamonds, and now the villain takes the bait and leads out for 25. I min-click it to 50, and he comes back over the top with a 3-bet to 150. Now he opened from the cutoff, so I don't think he's going to have a set of deuces here. Technically, it's possible that he could have 5s, but I blocked top set with 9s, and I also should have all the overpairs, whereas he probably only has 10s and jacks. So for those reasons, and because I know he doesn't have a set of 9s, I come back over the top again. We make it 300, a massive showing of strength, and the villain goes deep into the tank. He's thinking, he's shaking his head, he's looking around, he's trying to get a read on me. He asks if I have a set of 9s, I say nothing. About a minute and a half into his tanking session, he flashes his cards to the rest of the table, indicating a lot of strength on his end as well. Since he's taking so long, I'm gonna guess he's just in the blender with 10s or jacks. Finally, after 2 minutes and 33 seconds, my opponent folds. When I show the queen of clubs, he says, "That's all right, it just didn't make sense." The rest of the table expressed some surprise, and it's pretty clear that he had me beat, at least at the time. Later, I asked him if he had 10s or jacks, and he said better. I guess that means he has queens or kings. He's not folding aces there. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about this play? Does it make sense to go for the bluff since I blocked top set and have the higher overpairs here? Or do you think this was a spewy raise where I just happened to get lucky that my opponent made a hero fold? Let me know in the comments how you would have played. Wasn't that a weird last hand? I'm glad it worked out. I don't know if it was the right play. Anyway, let's recap the first half of 2024. One thing to note, these numbers do not include my home games nor my one session at the lodge. We got to play in 5 different states: Washington, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, and Florida. And so far, the numbers are looking pretty good for the year. First, let's take a look at 1-3. In 2022, our hourly rate was $26.59. Last year, that went up to $37.62. And so far in 2024, it is hovering just above $40 an hour. How about 3-5? Well, we didn't feel ready for 3-5 in 2022. And in 52 sessions last year, we came in at $17.90 per hour. 2024, we need to play a little bit more 3-5. The sample size is small, but we're over $100 an hour. Now, I think this is mainly due to variance, and one bad session will bring those numbers tumbling down, but nevertheless, it feels pretty cool that at both games, our numbers are up year over year. Our overall hourly rate in 2022 was $26.59. Last year, it was up just a little bit, up to $27.04. And through 58 sessions in 2024, we are at $53 an hour. So, overall, what does it say? I need to keep playing more poker. It also says I'm probably due for some negative variance at 3.5, but it's on me to up that volume so I can see whether or not that variance is just drastically inflating my numbers. Curious to see where my true hourly rate is at 3.5, but for now, we'll take it. Let's hope it holds close to that number. Videos we've been putting out recently have had a hard time getting picked up by the algorithm. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you are, hit that bell icon so you're notified every time we release another video. That's going to do it for today. Let's hope the second half of 2024 is as good as the first. I'm Wes. Thanks for watching Poker for Pound Pups. We'll see you next time. Hey everybody, subscribe here to catch the latest episodes. Also, hit that like button and share these videos with anyone who might enjoy them. Doing that really helps the channel and its goal to support dog shelters, so thanks for watching Poker for Pound Pups, and have a great day.